Hello, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and please check out my channel for other updates. So the last update about Twist of Fate. Prachi angrily slaps Rhea for accusing her wrongly, and Rhea gives Prachi 7 days ultimatum to leave Ranbir and the Kohli's house. Let's continue from there. Rhea comes to Aliya's room and says, "I love you, aunt." Aliya says, "I know, Rhea," and asks, why is she so happy? Rhea gives the credit to Aliya for her happiness and says, even if something wrong happens, then you make it fine. She says, "I am so happy, all because of you." Rhea quickly gets sad again and says, "I thought that everything would be over and Ranbir will go away from me. I will lose him and that Nick would expose me. But Aliya says everything is okay and you got emotional." Rhea says, "I don't remember when I was happy last." She says, "I was failing every single time and I saw so much failure from my marriage temple to mom and dad's anniversary." Rhea says, "Whatever plans we have made to burn Prachi's face on Holy Day, to prove her characterless and to kill her, all the plans were failure. But now we are winning. I am mad with happiness seeing Ranbir in my room." Prachi tells Shahana that she did a mistake by trusting her heart and saying dreams, and it breaks. Prachi says, "I thought to stay in my husband's room, but he showed my value." She says, "When I opened my eyes, I saw Ranbir's betrayer face. He did not love me, but he betrayed me. He used to talk big. If he wants to have my trust, then he has to earn it." She says he said that nothing happened between Rhea and him, if he will prove this way by staying with her. Shahana asks Prachi to calm down. Prachi says let her heart break and emotions come out. She wants to get rid of this pain. Shahana asks her to rest for some time. Ranbir is sleeping in his room. Rhea tells Aliya that she felt peace, saying Prachi is alone and nobody supported her. She says nobody went behind Prachi, and Ranbir also haven't gone behind her. Rhea says Ranbir was standing there for me, and I am sure that he must have felt that anything would have happened when I was attacked and I could have died. She says he might have been scared to lose me. Aliya smiles and says, "Should I tell you something?" Aliya gets a phone call and tells Rhea that the call is important, so she will talk to her in the morning and tell her about the next plan. Rhea asks her and says okay. She goes. Aliya attends to the call. Prachi tries to sleep, resting in Shahana's lap. Rhea comes to Ranbir's room. Ranbir gets up and says that he is not comfortable with Rhea. Ranbir says to Rhea that you have two options. If you want to stay here, then I will shift to Prachi's room, or you can sleep on the couch. He says, "I cannot go to study room being unwell." Rhea says, "I will sleep on the couch." She rests on the couch. Aliya shouted, seeing Rhea in her room, and switched on the light. She asks what happened. Rhea says whatever I was thinking was not there. Aliya asks what is she saying. Rhea says everyone thought that I should stay with Ranbir so that he gets fine soon, even though Prachi objected. Aliya says yes, and finally you are staying with him. Rhea says he said that he is not comfortable with me and gave me two options. He said that he would either go to Prachi's room and sleep there, or else I should sleep on the couch. Rhea says he doesn't want my love. He is staying there in the same room though. Rhea says, "I don't know what happened to Ranbir suddenly, if Prachi did black magic on him or he changed his mind." She says she become my enemy and asks Aliya to kill Prachi. She says if you don't kill Prachi, then I will kill her. Aliya says don't say this. We have come out from Nick's matter somehow. Rhea says I want to see myself with Ranbir happily married, and I want him to proudly say that Rhea is his wife. Aliya get thinking and sit on the couch. Aliya says if that thing happen with you again, and if that thing happens twice, she says everyone thought that you were attacked and you got everyone's sympathy. Aliya says to Rhea that let's plan another attack on you. The police will come and arrest Prachi, and then Ranbir has to care for you and it will get closer to you and it will go away from Prachi. Rhea says then Ranbir and I will stay in the same room where I planned my wedding night with him. Aliya says if this plan is successful, then I will decorate that room for your wedding night. Rhea says whom to call to execute our plan. Aliya says we have to do it ourselves and we have to convince the family that Prachi couldn't see you with Ranbir and she planned attack on you. She says this plan is against Prachi. Pallavi tells Vikram that she has hired a new staff help as Preeti went suddenly. Vikram asks about Shahana. Pallavi says she doesn't want to talk about her and says that her mood spoils hearing about unwanted girl. Vikram says sorry. She asks Rhea to come. Prachi comes to the dining table and sits. Aliya comes to the dining table and tells her that Rhea has a bad habit to watch from windows since childhood. Rhea comes downstairs and says good morning. What is in the breakfast? Pallavi asks her to sit. Rhea says she wants to have breakfast with Ranbir and says Ranbir will be fine soon if she spends time with him. Pallavi says I will join you both too. Aliya says we will all join him. Vikram says it is a great idea and we shall join him. He asks Prachi if he will come too. Prachi says she would have breakfast here and asks him to go. Vikram asks if Prachi would have breakfast alone. He goes. Prachi thinks that she is not alone, but her child is with her. Ranbir comes out from the bathroom and sees his family. Pallavi and Vikram tells him that they came to have breakfast with him. Aliya says it was Rhea's idea. Ranbir says so sweet of you all and asks what was the need. Vikram gets a file and says that it was in the study. Aliya says I will help and read it. Ranbir says he brought the file to read. Vikram says the doctor told you clearly to rest and you are working to meet the deadline of the project. Ranbir says I am relaxing, don't worry. Vikram says now we have to do breakfast and then I have to take medicines, so let's do it on time. Pallavi says Ranbir is telling us to give him food and medicines. What kind of family are we? Vikram says we should take care of you. Prachi is going from there. Pallavi asks Ranbir to have food. Rhea says I will make you eat. Ranbir says it is okay. Aliya says a wife will feed the husband as you are married. Rhea says to Ranbir that my hand is not having poison, so I will feed you. She makes Ranbir have the food. Prachi comes inside and gets sad seeing Rhea feeding Ranbir. Vikram asks Prachi to join them, but Prachi is about to leave. Ranbir says I was feeling bad seeing you having food alone. Prachi takes the plate. Rhea tells Ranbir that he had little quantity of food and asks him to have it more. Ranbir gets uncomfortable and looks at Prachi. He hesitantly has the food and tells Rhea that he is done. He says I am going to the study room and I have some work to do. Pallavi asks Ranbir to rest for some time. Ranbir says I will not take any workload. Pallavi says to Vikram that he should have stopped him. Vikram says he doesn't listen to anyone. Pallavi and Vikram leave. Aliya gets a call and leaves from there as well. Prachi is leaving, but Rhea stops her and asks if you are going behind Ranbir. Don't go. Prachi goes from there. Rhea looks at her. Pallavi comes behind Ranbir and asks what is the need to work. Ranbir says I just need to read some files. If I remain idle, then I will be affected with the house affairs. Vikram says let me talk to him. Pallavi says make him understand that I am his mom. Vikram says let me talk to him. Aliya looks at them. Ranbir tells Vikram that if he doesn't work, then he has to read his life's book, which is not right now. He says the title is upside down. He says let me be busy. Vikram says I understand that work stress is better than home stress and it relaxes us. He says you should do the work and don't tell anyone. Aliya says as long as Prachi is here, the home stress will be here and that is why Rhea has to do this. Ranbir says I am going to the study room. Vikram turns and looks at Aliya. He asks what are you hearing? Aliya says I was going to that side. Rhea asks Prachi not to go behind Ranbir and asks her not to be shocked. Prachi says I am not shocked and tells her that nothing is left to become shocked and says you irritate me. Rhea says you bore me a lot. She asks her to stick to her promises and says you have said that you will not roam around Ranbir like a housefly and asks Prachi that why are you doing this then? Prachi says to Rhea that we stay in the same house. It is not my fault. Rhea says your attitude is bad and asks her to accept her failure with honesty. Prachi says she will not accept it. This is not 2020 match. Rhea says he will win. Prachi says she hates 2020. Rhea laughs and says you don't like it as you are out of the team. I love the way they are treating you like a housefly. She says the truth doesn't change if you turn your face. Prachi says the mood spoiled talking to you. Rhea says your life is going to be ruined. Prachi says you were upset and told me that if anything happens to Ranbir, then you will not leave me. Prachi says to Rhea that you know well that Ranbir saved me and he risked his life to save me. She asks Rhea to decide whom Ranbir saved. She says we will play your favorite 2020. Prachi feels dizzy and goes. Rhea says I am not yet over. Prachi goes to her room and sits. She calls her doctor. The doctor asks Prachi how are you feeling now? Prachi says she is feeling dizzy. The doctor asks if Prachi can come to her clinic or she should come there. Prachi says she will call before coming. Ranbir hears her and asks, do you want to tell me something or waiting for me to ask? Ranbir says if you have any problem, then you should tell me. Prachi asks Ranbir to go to Rhea and ask about her problems. Ranbir says okay and says Rhea has taken care of me and she did not take beauty sleep like you. Prachi says beauty sleep is important for me and asks, why are you wasting your time? She asks Ranbir to go to Rhea's room and says she might be waiting with the food plate and she will make you sleep after feeding you food. Ranbir says to Prachi that thanks to you, you have shown me the way. Prachi says you are already working on the way. Ranbir says it is a waste of time to talk to you. Prachi says you will justify that you love me even now, but your words and doings are different. There is no coordination. Prachi says to Ranbir that you want to save someone and you save someone else, and that he has no control on his heart. Ranbir says you want to hurt me. Prachi says you like to do it too. Ranbir says I don't like to hurt you. He says I am done with the explanation and says you never believe my love. Prachi says to Ranbir that I understand the truth and lie. Ranbir says you doubt my intentions. Prachi says you brought doubt between us and you doubted me first. She says there is no reason for it. She says all your problems were cut and pasted and you filled cinder in Rhea's forehead. Prachi says to Ranbir that I have seen you going with Rhea for honeymoon. She says my heart bleeds seeing all these things and the broken pieces pierces my heart. She says I was mad to marry you, but my heart was broken and my life was ruined. Ranbir says to Prachi that you cannot doubt my love. Prachi says I did not want to marry you. Ranbir says you burnt all our relationship and says I will not say anything in anger. He says I will say what I mean. I will go very far from you. He says this relationship will be made only when you want it. Prachi says to Ranbir that go to your Rhea. Even I don't want you to stay with me. They go their different ways. Rhea recalls telling Prachi that she will shift with Ranbir. Aliyah comes there and asks Rhea to come. She says I did all the calculations and tells her that she made a story that you stand sticking to the window always. Ranbir and Vikram comes there. Aliyah and Rhea hide. Aliyah asks Rhea to get ready to fall. It is a small fall. Rhea says okay. Ranbir and Vikram goes from there. Aliyah takes out the tools and started opening the screw. Rhea says grandma and mom are there and not others. Aliyah asks Rhea to wear knee pads and she will keep the mattress there. She tells her that she will not leave any chance to make it look like action drama and asks her to do acting. She then asks her to do her work and says she will be going downstairs now. Rhea asks that why are we doing this now? Aliyah says I heard Ranbir and Vikram talking and says we shall make everyone believe that Prachi wants to kill you again. Everyone is angry now. She says we shall provoke them until they throw Prachi out. Rhea says I will wear the knee pad. The doctor tells Prachi that her baby is fine, though her pregnancy is complicated. She asks her to stay at home and take someone along with her when she goes out. She asks her to live normally and be happy. She gives her a ball and says I give this to all my patients. Prachi thanks her. Aliyah keeps the mattress in the hall and says that the new servant doesn't know anything. She asks Grandma about her foot. Grandma says she is fine. Rhea is standing in the balcony. Ranbir and Vikram comes there. Rhea tries to fall down from the balcony and holds the pillar, but she falls down on the mattress and then she rolls over to the floor. Everyone rushed to her. Aliyah hugs her and shouted Prachi, showing her fake tears. Ranbir looks on in shock. Thank you for watching my videos. Please don't forget to like this video, share it, and please subscribe to this channel for more updates. Thank you.